Hey agave lovers, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lucas and today let's talk about cactus and aloe. I have a couple here, a false saguaro or a Pachycereus pringlei, and this is a tree aloe. So this gets pretty big. This is an aloe barberae. And I have decided that I want to pull this false saguaro out of the yard and in place put this tree aloe. Kind of the reasoning behind this, because I know you've seen me take out plants and put in new plants, and the reasoning behind this is that this is a good space for things that will go vertical, so columnar things, kind of like this cactus or like this tree aloe. So the cactus is going to be quite columnar and then it'll eventually branch out. It does take time before that happens, many years from now. But the tree aloe, this thing grows very quickly. And this is going to behave less columnar like a cactus and more like a tree. And it is going to grow to be about 4 or 5 feet tall, then it'll start to branch off, and then it's going to look like a tree. And the space that it is going to be competing with will be the area up here, which is bordered by this Kalamata olive tree and another Kalamata olive tree behind me. These trees are about a little bit more than half their mature size, but I do keep them pruned just because we do harvest these olives, and I don't want to just let this tree go and not be able to kind of reach a lot of the fruit. So I do maintain the size of these trees. That said, this is a pretty good area, I think, that this tree aloe will work. Now, a few things we have to think about when we have a tree aloe like this is kind of goes back to an earlier video that I've done with respect to agave placement. And we don't have agaves we're working with today. They are succulents, but this aloe, as I already explained, it is going to have a canopy like a tree, but also the base of it gets really wide, like a tree, kind of like an oak tree. It'll get about 24 inches or so. I've seen them a little bit larger. A lot of times if they decide to branch out early, and that base can be quite large. So I need to plan for about 24 inches of space. That means that I don't want to get too close to the driveway, and I don't want to get too close to the established plants here already. This cholla cactus here, this teddy bear cactus, I may or may not keep this here, but regardless, it'll be fine with this aloe here, and pretty much everything else. The ideal spot, I think, for this tree aloe is right behind me, right where this Texas sage is, right here. This is probably the best place with respect to the area up here, because it's kind of right equidistant between these two Kalamata olive trees. But I don't want to mess with this. This is established. It's a beautiful plant. And unlike, cactus or agave, I can't take this out and move it. It's here forever. So if I do take it out, it's a goner. So I can't replant this or transplant this. So I'm going to keep this here. And that said, I think this cactus, this area here is almost as good, not quite as good as if I could put it right here. But like I said, I do prune this olive tree and to try to kind of control its size. So a couple of things that I want to mention before I pull this cactus out is that I do have some landscape fabric here. And you might be saying, no, landscape fabric is terrible. And I will probably agree with you on most situations, but hear me out. I have the landscape fabric on my paths and along my driveway, not to control weeds, because look at all these weeds. Tons of weeds on top of the landscape fabric. That's not why I use it. I use the landscape fabric on the pathways next to the driveway is because I'm trying to control where these agaves pup to. So when these agaves send out offsets, which many of them do quite a bit, I don't want them popping up in the middle of the trails. And many times when the agave sends out its rhizomes, which are those little fleshy white root-like things that go parallel with the ground until it pops up, when it sends out a rhizome and you pull it up and you cut it, and then you take that cutting, many times that end of that rhizome, it's just going to keep pupping over and over and over. So I don't want that to happen in the middle of my pathways or right next to my driveway. I don't want that. So I'm controlling where these pups can come up and where they cannot. I don't use this landscape fabric to control weeds because I know that it really doesn't work. If you have landscape fabric and you put something on it, anything organic or even inorganic like soil, gravel, mulch, you're going to get weeds, and those weeds eventually will collect, or the seeds will collect, and you'll get weeds just like this. Right underneath here is landscape fabric. So that's not why I use it. I also use the very heavy duty, industrial strength, commercial grade landscape fabric, expensive stuff. And I also apply it correctly, how you're supposed to. So I know many times that, you know, a landscape architect or landscape designer or anyone who's involved with doing landscaping will just say, hey, I've been doing this for 30 years, never use it, stuff's terrible. Well, I'm going to disagree, and I think that it has a lot of good applications as long as, one, you use it properly, two, you buy the right stuff. You don't just go to your big box store and you pick up the cheapest stuff, because it really depends on the material and also how you use it and what your goals are. And my goals, as I've stated, I've been using this now for a little over 10 years, and it is done exactly as intended. So, sure, I don't like blanket statements, especially when it comes to a lot of things, because there's reasons why people use things and there's reasons why you shouldn't. So I think that I use landscape fabric and use it for the advantages that I've described. So before we get started, just a few tools. I have some scissors just in case I do have some landscape fabric here that I need to contend with, but we have our little shovel, just our hand shovel. We don't need a big one today. I already kind of poked around, and I don't think I have landscape fabric where this aloe is going in, so I don't think I have to worry about the scissors. Another tool I have is kind of looks like a root hook, but this was just a weeding tool. It's straight, and I bent it at a 90-degree angle just so I can kind of, when I take out weeds, I kind of go like this, and it works quite well, especially with this gravel that's on top of landscape fabric. The weeds don't have a chance to really have a lot of a very deep root structure, so they end up coming out a little easier. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We'll first pull out this cactus, and we'll make a hole large enough for this aloe here. So let's go ahead and get started. I should mention too that I have this little container, and this is going to be used for the cactus. I'll put the cactus in probably a 2-gallon container. The root structure won't be too extensive on the cactus, so I shouldn't have any problems getting that up. And then this will transplant quite well. Aloes don't transplant as well as like a cactus or even agaves. So I want to make sure that this is in a spot that I really want it, because I probably won't be able to move this anytime soon. So actually anytime at all. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I'm just going to move the aloe a little bit out of the way so that we have some room to work here. I'm just going to put it here in the pathway. And recently this aloe has been quite a bit damaged. It was in my greenhouse, and I had a large agave fall off. I didn't even know. It fell off one of the tables, and it landed on it and took out a whole bunch of leaves in the process. But these things grow extremely fast. They are rapid growers, and that won't have any long-term effects on it. So First, we're going to move some of these rocks out of the way, because this is where we are going to be digging. A really nice soil here. So I want to get this container close. The soil is so nice, and it wasn't that long ago when I planted this. This is going to come out quite nice. It's taking a lot more soil than I thought it would. So let me just take some of it back. Look at that. Easy peasy. Really nice. Just gonna set that out of the way. And I'm probably gonna have to bring some more dirt in because I don't think this will be enough. I think we'll move this rock a little bit. Oh, this is really, it's in there. Okay. So these little islands of plants that I have kind of in the yard where I have the pathways and these little built up areas, this is all built up with imported soil. So this is stuff that I've brought in, and it's very coarse and it's appropriate for the plants that I grow. But I can tell, kind of as I come towards the driveway, I haven't amended the soil because I don't want the roots to go toward the driveway. I want the roots to go in a direction where I've imported soil. So I want them to kind of go that way. So I don't have any amended soil here, just the top layer, which is mulch. And I can see right here is the edge of the landscape fabric. Right here. So this is exactly where I intended to plant this, so that's good. I don't have to make any cuts. Let me just stand back just a moment. Always want to make sure that we're putting this in the right spot. And yeah, you know, I think I'm going to cut just a little bit. Just a little half moon kind of shape here. Just because I want to make sure that I have as much space above here in the canopy that I can to make sure that this tree aloe has all the room it needs. Okay. So I just cut a little bit more out. And this clay soil, I don't want to mix in where, because I kind of want to just throw this up here. This stuff I don't want to reuse. Okay. Just want to make sure that everything is still where we need it to be. Moving all this soil out too will give us an opportunity to amend the soil even more around the aloe. Okay, so I just went and got some coarse soil from the backyard at my planting station. Look, we've got what is this? Barberae truncata. Oh, must have been one that I planted some time ago. I'll just set this aside. So here is just some coarse soil. This is what I use to plant my agaves and my other succulents. And this will work nice to amend the soil already here. So, plus we've got a large 3-gallon pot that we'll be able to use everything from. And it has a lot of lava on top. So what I like to do is first, I'll dump the lava. And this is a good coarse material to have on the bottom that will help with drainage. So we'll go ahead and put that in first. And then if you tuned into my video about planting the Horticulturist in my planter box, I talk about these very specific pots. They're not very good. So when you have a heavy plant, this is not heavy, but when you have a heavy plant, these lips tend to break off easily, and I don't like them. So I'm not too worried about hurting the container because I'm not going to reuse these. I'm not going to buy these anymore either. So we just smack the sides to loosen up the root ball. And you want to be careful with how this comes out. The soil was very coarse, so you can see that it didn't stay with the roots itself. That's totally normal with aloes. But I'm going to pull some of this out just because I want to get these roots down there. Down there quite far. So I'm just going to set this in here gently and figure out where I want this, a final resting place. But I'm just going to put a little bit in here just so, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to pull a little bit more out because what worried me was that it wasn't in there deep enough. There. So you can see here with the base here, there's not many roots here on this side, but there's a lot on this side. We want the roots to go that way. So we will put the majority of the roots going that way. And then we will have the final resting place right about here. There's no variegation on this plant, so we don't have to worry about aesthetically what and where the variegation is facing. But it is important to get those roots kind of in the hole, facing the correct way. Just want to step back here. We always want to step back and make sure that this is where we want it. Okay, yeah, there's plenty of room up above. And my wife parks the van here, so I don't want this thing to start growing tree branches out this way. Hoping that it won't start branching out until it's at least, 6 feet high. And that's one thing that I will have to keep an eye on. So we'll just finish up with this really nice coarse soil. There's a lot of organics and a lot of lava, a lot of nice stuff. And you may recall, I like to use lava because lava stone is porous. And since it's porous, that little bits of water will get trapped into all these little spaces here on the rock. And when that water gets trapped, that little bit of moisture is going to really help us throughout the summer months. Aloe don't like to be in a place where they get too much water. They don't like to be in a place where, especially sitting in like a valley or a dip like that. I like to plant them up on mounds like this, or in an area where the water is going to continually drain off. On a hillside is really good, or on a big mound. You don't want to plant aloe in a place where water will collect. Okay, now I think I used a lot of this extra good soil. Now I'm going to come back and just push in all the rest of the soil. This should be enough for us. I don't think I'll need to add anything else once we get all this in. Okay, so another thing too is, when the aloe is this size, it's only going to populate, about this much room as these branch out. But it's really not going to start developing a canopy until it starts to branch out, right around my height, maybe even taller here. So I'm not worried about it, about this Texas sage. This is getting to be about the size it gets. It doesn't get much bigger. Plus I keep these trimmed just so that we can see all of the rest of our other plants here. We are almost done with this. You want to make sure that whatever plant that you're planting is nice and secure in the ground. You can hand tamp it. Hand tamping is just fine. You want to push out all those recesses that may have occurred from digging this up. We want the plant to feel nice and secure so that it will feel confident that it can grow. Now we'll just take this rest of this gold fines here. Just move it around just to make it look nice. Make it look nice and natural. And then I'm going to put this rock back. Just have to move it just over just a little bit. There. All right, how's that look? And then I'll put these rocks back. There. Oh, there we are. Well, thanks for stopping in today. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. That'd really help out the channel. Feel free to drop me a comment below. I'll be happy to take a look at those comments and answer any questions that I'm able to answer. But just a short video today. I just wanted to kind of walk you through. I've done a few transplanting videos before, planting and extraction videos, but every time I have this in the yard, I really like to try to bring you along as many times as I can. Sometimes, sometimes it's the experience is just for me. Sometimes I don't, I don't want to necessarily share that with everyone. So my apologies if you see something big in the yard that might look different. Sometimes, I just need a day of planting just for myself. So, but this was something that I really wanted to talk to you about because I don't talk a lot about other succulents like aloe and cactus. And it was a perfect opportunity to kind of show you a little bit of some of the other succulents in the yard that I don't typically talk about as much as I do with agaves and such. And if you want to see me talk more about some of the trees and things in the yard and other succulents and things, let me know. I'd be happy to kind of walk you through that. I have a lot of plants like manzanita that are local to the California, the Bay Area. The Palo Verdes in the yard. I have a Ceiba speciosa, beautiful, beautiful tree. I'm going to be removing the supports from that tree pretty soon. I can probably even do it now, but I'm going to wait until the majority of the winter winds are out of the way, and then I'll remove those supports. So if you want to see other stuff like a lot of the other drought-tolerant things that I have in the yard, let me know, and I will put together a video for you guys. But today, again, just a short video. I really wanted to bring you along with this particular planting, just because this is an aloe that will grow so quickly, and it is going to be such a focal point in the yard. I kind of wanted it equidistant. Can't see it here, it's right behind the camera. I wanted it equidistant with my Yucca rostrata that I have, because that is going to be very similar to this plant for many of its years. But with the way that I had the path here and stuff, it just wouldn't work with having it equidistant. And the way my brain works, I love symmetry, and I like when things are highly organized and look quite thought out. But I wasn't able to make that happen, but I'm sure I'll live. I'm sure I'll live with that sort of offset distance. But anyway, thanks again for stopping along. If you haven't already, as I mentioned, feel free to subscribe. It's free, and it really helps me out, helps out the channel. So thanks again for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Have a great week ahead, and be safe, everyone, and we'll see you then. Thanks.